We just learned from the head of development at Nintendo, Shinya Takashi, that Metroid Prime 4 will be scratched and stricken and redeveloped from the ground up. They have told us that it does not meet, the current state that the game is in does not meet the standards that Nintendo believes that they can bring forward to their fans. They believe that the game is too tricky. They used the word tricky. They used the development is very tricky, and they said that it's just way easier at this point to make the game as good as possible, to just redevelop it from the ground up and basically start again. Which I can imagine for a lot of Metroid Prime fans on this channel, which I know a lot of you are, this probably would come as news that is not very favorable, but I really think that first of all, I want to talk about the announcement itself. I think the announcement itself was the best possible way you could do this. Fans of video games, I think we crave honesty about our video games, especially in a time where many video games companies do kind of like attempt to hide figures and hide like things right into like release. You've noticed not a lot now with video games, which is a different topic altogether, which I would like to talk about more, but they like release the game, then they bring out the microtransactions and announce them 2 weeks afterwards, so the reviews can't be brought down by reviewers. A lot of shady stuff is happening, so it's really nice to have a company come out, the head of the development team, and say to us, you know, this game is being redone. Now, I think this is 100% a good thing. I am not personally a fan of the Metroid Prime series. That's because I have not played it yet. There's a few reasons. First, the selfish reason. This gives me way more time to play all the games on the channel and actually get caught up in time for this series. But also for the fans, I think you're gonna get a better game. I really do think you're gonna get a better game. I think that I always have one philosophy when it comes to games, no matter what. When Last Guardian got delayed, when I think it was Dark Souls 3 got delayed, when all these games get delayed, Bloodborne got delayed, I mean, I always say the one thing I always say is, let it cook. Let it cook. I would rather have a fully cooked, delicious, gourmet game than a half-cooked, soggy game that was rushed out of the kitchen. I am saying let it cook because yes, it'll be a longer wait, but in the meantime, you can rest well knowing that the game that you are so excited for is going to be better for the time that it actually is in development. They also announced that they're going to be working with the original people who created Metroid Prime, which is the Retro Studio, which to me I think a lot of people make a lot of people happy. I know Retro Studio are a bunch of talented people, and I know they can actually make this work. And it's also very humbling to see a developer, the head of development, come out and say, we need this team's help. We believe they can bring the game to the standards that you expect. And you can kind of understand why they scrapped the whole thing, because if you release a Metroid Prime 4 and it gets like less than favorable reviews, even like just like average reviews, like people will remember that forever. And you can't just do a Metroid Prime 5 on the back of a bad Metroid game, right? I like. At least that's how I feel with other games in the series, you know, it's like, you have to like build up trust again. You look at an example from my own personal taste, Resident Evil. Resident Evil 6 was a game that like a lot of people hated, a lot of people just were disappointed in, even the people that liked it were like, it's okay. And I think that what happened was, Resident Evil were like, well, we can't just come out guns blazing and be like, you love Resident Evil. They came out and said, we're going back to our roots. This is survival horror, you're gonna like it, and then all of a sudden the trust is built back up again. But to build back up that trust, it takes a lot of effort, and I don't think they want to come out of the gates and do that. I think they want to make a game that is right and good, and can not only meet the standards of like what apparently Metroid is, but also meet the standards of what Nintendo is. And you know, I talk about this all the time. I am a fanboy of all video games. I'm a Sony fanboy, I'm an Xbox fanboy, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I'm a fanboy of video games, no matter what. As long as there's good games, I'm a fan of them. But I will say that like when I play Nintendo games, it's rare that I play a Nintendo game that I played that I'm like, man, this is bad. Because I feel like they do have a certain standard of quality and history, and it would be a shame to ruin it all with a bad game. So I'm 100% on board with this. I want to hear your guys' thoughts though, because I feel like a lot of people might be upset about this. I think a lot of people might be happy about this. I think that this announcement was great. He apologized. He even bowed to us, which is very nice. I have no horse in the race, but I did want to give my thoughts on like delays in general and why I think this is a good thing. why I think this delay is less sad than other delays might be. Thank you guys for watching, and please give me your thoughts.